Welcome to Living a Life by Design. It's the journey back to you and living 365 days of purpose with your host, Esther Graham. Did you know your accountability and possibility is by design? God designed a phenomenal life for you, gave you the gift of choice. Esther helps empower you to discover and pursue the purpose that is already in you. Are you ready to look at yourself and see your future? Then get back to what is really important in life and get in alignment with your true self. Stay tuned to Living a Life by Design. Journey back to you and start living 365 days of purpose with your host, Esther Graham. It all starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Living a Life by Design with me, your host, Dr. Esther Graham. I'm so super excited that you made the decision, you made the choice to join me today. I have a very special guest today, and I'm so excited because today we're going to speak about something that I believe, I know it happened in my personal life, that happens in everyone's life, and that's disruption. And when our life gets disrupted, how do we use that disruption to still grow? You see, we can grow from any and everything, but it's also how we grow and how we use it. And so my very special guest today is Dr. Amrita, and I'm going to say her name, Subramanian. Dr. A, we will call her, right? And so Dr. A, we met. Really, it was several weeks ago in New York at another event. And I have been looking at the work and the research that she has done just on growth, let's say overall. And I'm super excited to share her with you. And listen, as you're listening, if you've got questions, make sure that you're asking, make sure that you love on her, let her know that this information is great, because she's also going to share with you at the end of our segments how you can connect with her. And by the way, y'all, if you're going to be at the live event, make sure that you walk up and meet her as well. So, Dr. A, please reintroduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, Dr. Esther Graham, thank you so much. What a kind way to welcome, and I'm delighted beyond words to be here. A huge shout out to all your followers and all the people who've been impacted by the wisdom of what you do. Thank you for doing what you do. I am truly honored and humbled at the same time that this conversation, we're all instruments in this world to accomplish the good that we are born to, and no one else but we can do. So I'm glad to be here. A bit about my backdrop. I work like all of us do, and the purpose of my work, by the end of my life, hopefully, at least 1% of the world's population will know that not all disruption causes trauma, that growth is not inevitable, but growth, as you said, is a matter of choice. And I've begun that work through my research. When I can, I love to teach and reach out to people. So I teach at University of Pennsylvania and collaborate with the Wharton School for senior executives. My work allows me to teach and reach all parts of the world. I also work as an advisor to the boards. I coach, I consult. I manage a portfolio, but all of it is related to the singular theme that we all suffer the consequences of modern life, the consequences of turbulence, the consequences of crisis, one after the other. But we don't all grow. So we suffer, but we don't all grow. And how to grow well, that is my pursuit.
I love that we all suffer, but we all don't grow, and how to grow well. And that's the piece that I really want to focus on, is that how do we grow well? Because we all go through things in our lives, but we all don't grow well. And what we want to do in life while we're still here to accomplish the things that I like to say that God, has really placed us on this earth. We are instruments. But we can't accomplish those things if we don't grow, right? And so here's my first question for you is, in seasons of disruption, many people feel stuck or even defeated. What was a pivotal moment for you when disruption actually became the doorway to growth?
What a magnificent ask to review one's life. I will say this, that there have been a string of pearls. The disruption has been that I wear around my heart. But it's only much later in life that my personal quest, as I climbed my own mountains, if you will, received the generosity or cruelty of the world, because it came in equal shares, and then reached a point in my life where I understood two things. First, we are all on a collision path, just like the stars above and the universe. So is the universe within us. We are on a path of collision. We will collide into life, and life will collide into us. The question is, do I become a supernova that births many stars, or do I become a black hole? That's the choice. And so the pivotal disruption in recent years of my life has been the pandemic. During the pandemic, I was conducting the research on what creates not doom and gloom. I was not interested in that. I was interested what happens after the lightning strikes, because it does strike, sometimes multiple times. So after the lightning strikes, who grows? What grows? And when do we know it's growing, as opposed to a delusion that I'm growing, but really I'm stuck, as you said. Disruption, for me, is any turning point or a decisive moment when there is an urgent shift. Now, not every disruption is crisis. Not every disruption causes trauma. Many of us anticipate, such as the disruption of falling in love, such as the disruption of getting married, such as the disruption of having the most fantastic career option, or the disruptions that break our hearts, whether it is a betrayal by a system, by an institution, by a community, or the ecological disruption when earth shakes up and the lava comes through. It is also a metaphor for our society when things disappoint us, when we see our children suffering, when we see the world making some senseless choices on this planet, when we don't understand, and it goes beyond comprehension of kindness, of maturity, of wisdom. What on earth is going on? We say that almost every day. You say it in your mind, I say it in my mind. We all are operating with, it's so anxious, it's so brittle, it's so fragile, this world. And a lot of it has to do with the negative media, news, and what we listen to. And you made a beautiful comment that, it's the good and the bad. It's the inspiring analogy that you have. And unfortunately, the neurobiological part of our brains is wired to listen to the negative a little more. However, there is data that says that those of us, and you have met such people, and I have been humbled to meet such people, there are people whose life has been a string of losses, a string of gains. But something that is true about them is when you are in their presence, you feel expanded. You feel that there is more.
So true.
You feel that there is everything possible. You feel that the better part of you comes through. Those are people who have grown well. For me, it has come at the moment of the pandemic when I saw millions of lives lost, and I met fabulous 30 people, moms and dads, people of the world, who don't call themselves leader, who don't toot their horns, but they looked after their world, their community, their family, their works, and ended up being extraordinary human beings. For me, that was the point. I understood the collective wisdom does not belong to me. It belongs to the world, and therefore the mission that I'm on.
Oh, I love everything that you're saying, because it's so true. It's so and when I say it's so true, it's where, like, I could see myself. The person can see themselves, and no matter where they are, whether it's those series of challenges, or the good, the bad, everything coming together to where, the greatness comes out. You mentioned the pandemic, and I think and I say this quite a bit, is one of the things that I found just in my own life and in my own community, that the pandemic, while it was so sad and so many people passed away, that I saw humanity coming together, and those people that you thought that maybe would have suffered, let's say, they just rose above. And that's the beauty of when the challenges come together. It does bring out greatness in us, doesn't it? Um, Disruption often strips away what's comfortable, right? For example, with the pandemic, for me, that was a big disruption. For many, my business model changed. So many things change. So it does what's uncomfortable. It takes us away from what's comfortable. So what key lessons did you learn in that uncomfortable space that you carry on now as strength?
Humility,
Ah,
endless humility. That my real teacher is chaos. And I can do nothing but before Mother Chaos, bow my knees and say, teach me again.
yes.
Education doesn't matter, experience doesn't matter, credence doesn't matter. What matters is such as the complete fragility of human life, as you mentioned. And your previous question had this pause in it, which is, we end up getting stuck. And so when I link the two asks that you're speaking of, I end up sensing the range of human emotions. So this word traumatized, pandemic as an economic event and an ecological event, and a collective trauma event, what it did is it accelerated trends across our lives. Something that now we manifest as we look back 3 years. Within that period, how much happened? Whether it we are talking impersonally, like technology, world, pace, or we are talking in the internal universe.
Yes.
You see, everyone goes through the lightning strike. Throm, the word means a daydream. Now, if we take pandemic as one experience, not just AI, which is the buzzword for now, but the pandemic, Throm, the word in German means daydream. How many of us have said in a moment of deep joy or deep grief, the depth is what is an indicator, it feels like a dream, or it feels like a nightmare I'm not waking up from. And so, irrespective of what label we give, the intensity of dissociation cannot be happening. This must not be real, if you will. And so, we can feel two things. We can feel great excitement, such as falling in love with something, a passion, a purpose, a mission, or falling out of love with a vision and insight and understanding. Can lead to great heightened creativity or can lead to a very deep powerlessness, a shock to the system, often unspeakable, becoming a wordless scream. So the intensity of the shock, whether it's joy or grief or the human range, we must ask ourselves this. Where is the nostalgia that holds us back to what we think is normal? Because that is where I say the chalk and the cheese. The glass meets the real world. The blue pill and the red pill, we take it together. And then we say, wait, what? This is real? And I think that's the point that most people have not given themselves the grace to pause.
Repeat that one more time, just so we could really be clear. So it's the nostalgia that holds us back.
It's the nostalgia. The nostalgia of, I was told by my ancestors, I was told by my community, I was told by my family, my first community, that this is how it's supposed to be. And somewhere I accepted the algorithm, if you will, and never asked myself to look at my thinking and say, well, the world has changed. No one today, example, operates on iPhone 1. People would scoff, what a silly thing to say. Of course we're on iPhone 16, if not 26 before it comes. But we don't
17
say
now. I think it's
17 now. My bad.
Yeah.
See, I'm already obsolete by the time I say it's
Me
new.
too.
But we never quite say, have I upgraded my thinking? I have grandchildren. Will I understand them? Can I calibrate with them? Why? Because we hold on to the sense of time inside, which links all of it. You see, time is internal and external. And with the pandemic, the external time has sped up 50 times faster. The internal time is holding on to the sweet romantic nostalgia of how things used to be. Whether I'm 99 or 9, or 39 or 59, this is the real dilemma.
I love what you're saying, that it's the nostalgia. It's holding on to that time. This is how it used to be. And because how it used to be felt comfortable, felt good, that's many times why we stay there and we don't upgrade. Upgrade, you said, our thinking. Ah, so good. Listen, everyone, this is a powerful conversation. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. everyone. So we are back with Dr. Amrita, and we are having a powerful conversation. So wherever you are right now, make sure that you've got your journal, your notepad, get your pen, get your favorite, your coffee, your drinker, whatever it is that you like to drink, and stay tuned and take notes. Make sure you take notes and listen. When this recording comes out, make sure that you tell your friends, your community. Make sure you share it because this is information. What we're talking about today is for everyone. It's for everyone. And I'm so super excited. That's my favorite word, y'all. The word super excited, right? When I really like something. This conversation will literally change your perspective on things. This conversation will move you. And so I want to make sure that you're taking in everything that's being said. So grab your paper, grab your pen, and take notes. And make sure that you don't listen to it one time, but subscribe and listen to the recordings. This is really going to help you. So, Dr. A, let's continue our conversation from where we left off. I've got another question for you. I have to put my glasses on so I can see. So, after disruption, growth isn't about going back to normal, which is what we spoke of, right? But it's creating something new. It's not staying in that nostalgic area, how it used to be. I'm guilty of that. So, how do you redesign your vision, your systems, or even your mindset to move forward stronger?
What a question. What a question. I wish, if 5%
Mhm.
of the world's top leaders' time was invested in that question, our world would not need the kind of attention it does today. If 5%, just
Just,
5%
just
of time,
fine. Yeah.
just 5. Because here's why. You see, the life force, by the nature of it, is uncurbed and unbridled. And so when we get into a crisis, which I will now use as a technical term, which is a shift, a pivot from whatever the nostalgia of the norm was, whatever I was used to, what I would say typical, and take it for granted. When I cannot take life for granted anymore, I am in the deep state of discomfort, exactly as you said.
Mhm.
This discomfort is neither good nor bad. However, my response to it is what defines the path. And there are 4 paths to follow. Each one of us experience it at 4 levels, and we are members of these systems which we as human beings have created. So the first is I, me, myself. How do I see it? My internal GPS, my relationship to me. So, say, as a beautiful, I am going to be a grandmother. This is the first time. I am going to get married. This is the first time. I am buying my new home. This is the first time. My child got through the best program. This is, a new disruption. However, how I respond to it will choose how I am behaving towards this. Now, let's take some things that may have negative distress, such as the layoffs that are taking place all over the world. The news that someone has been diagnosed with a very, very rare form of a disease that has low percentage of someone making it through, or my own family member who now needs to go to a rehab and a hospice because of urgent care treatment long term till the end of their life. I may have a very close relationship. Why am I sharing this? Because these examples happen every day to everyone. A neighbor I sit next and right to, the person I'm riding the train with, the person I have road rage when I'm driving my car, I have it with everyone. That's a universal format. It's happening at an individual level, affects it at an interpersonal level, which is my relationships. My relationships with my mate, my siblings, my child, my family, my community, and then my relationships with others in the community, whether I work as a volunteer, whether I work in work, organizations, professional setups. It also affects me at a group and a system. So I belong to a group, example, of volunteers who travel all over the world and take care of ecological crisis. It affects me, how I respond to it. I can also say that I'm deeply fatigued by the trauma of the world. I can also say I am burnt out because that's what the pandemic did, gave us the gift of burnout. We don't acknowledge it, that almost 99% of us have some form or the other of burnout. And the 4th thing is when systems burn out. Yes, institutions no longer stay relevant. So it's the job, example, of an institution, say banks. They are meant to protect us, they are meant to create movement of financial prosperity for all of us. But when they endanger the faith by, say, money laundering that we keep hearing about, and the banks go ahead and correct that, but when we hear of such a case or a scam, then we end up saying the institution has failed. And everything about that institution has failed. What is true for one institution is true for every institution that is becoming irrelevant because of the question you asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
When does growth become good? Is when we understand that discomfort means there is a reinvention. The permission for reinvention comes when we understand that this is neither good nor bad. This is life happening. When we take care of the nostalgia, but we do it not as a punishment, which is an unfortunate thing. Most people say, oh, I must have failed. That's the silliest thing, if you will. In this world of interconnectedness, the only thing one can fail is oneself. But when we look at ourselves with great affection, like, say, collect all our ancestors, and if they were to look down upon us, they would not say, oh, you failed. They would not be pointing fingers. In fact, they would say, look, we suffered so that you don't. Isn't that what we will say? And so the idea is that as humanity moves towards a greater level of humanity, you were speaking of bringing out the greatness, the two things we must remember: discomfort and struggle are not bad. One has to put in the effort. Effort, whether we say any word like struggle, I don't like the word struggle, fine, find a new word. But it is the constant, repeatable effort towards getting to a newer reality. And the second thing, when we are moving, sometimes the movement would be very messy. That mess must be respected, because on our way to becoming best versions of ourselves along the life, across the goals and path, we will sometimes meet the aspects of ourselves that are hidden. In crisis and disruption, they come face to face. And at that point, do we remember to respect ourselves? Do we remember to respect our relationships? Do we remember to respect all the good in the world? Or do we then say that the world has failed us? That's the difference between those of us who grow and those of us who become fossilized in pain.
So good. There's often I'm trying to think of what it is. I use it sometimes, but basically what I hear you saying is that the incidents happen, the incident, then there's the response to the incident. So 1 + 1 equals the outcome. Oh, so here we have the incident, whatever it is that has taken place in your life or in your world, anything that's around you, your response to it, that will what brings you to the outcome.
Yes, it's the inner GPS, the upgrade. So if my inner GPS is stuck and I don't give it permission to look at this with grace, love, humility, but I look at it from the point of view of ego and arrogance and how could it possibly happen to me? That's exactly where things dissolve, dissipate, disintegrate.
And as you said earlier, we spend so much time. I mean, our thoughts, we have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts. So it's easy for us to navigate straight to, why did this happen to me? This isn't fair. This is all of these different things, right? That just keeps us there. But when we're thinking about up-leveling our mindset, let's say, when we're thinking about navigating future focus, right? Future focus, um, we have to really consider, how are we responding to this incident? And what is really the desired outcomes? What is it that we really want in our lives, in
Right.
our community? And I love what you said. It's not just about us, it's our community. It's the world that's around us, because collisions will happen all the time. And we have to get into a place to where we have the correct response based on the desired outcomes, our desired outcomes. Am I hearing you correctly?
I think, Dr. Graham, you said it beautifully and poetically. The world is in us and we are in the world. And to deny or reject the parts of it that may be unpleasant, may be cruel, may be brutal, is not an option anymore. The mess of the world comes home to us. The mess of the world must be understood. The mess of the world is also not personal. And that is a phenomena that we have to understand. The mess of the world is not personal because behavior of all humanity is the function of this person, you and I, and every person listening, and the rest of the world within the environment. The environment that we are in is of hyper growth right now. And so when hyper growth takes place, there are two things to be grateful for. The first, to understand we as humanity have this blessed fate to witness the kind of growth that hasn't happened in 500 years. We are living history at the speed of light. So how lucky this generation to face it. And the second, the Achilles heel, is that the very mind that can accept such a beautiful hypergrowth is the very mind that collapses under the force of information overload.
Yeah, I could just imagine that someone in the audience, they're probably saying, okay, this is so good. This is so, but how now, before I get to my next question, how now can I begin to change? How can I do that, Dr. A?
We are already doing it.
Ah,
We are already doing it. I mean, the fact that we get up, we
ah,
say, this is a good day, that I will love better today, that I will work something good into the world today, that the world, I will meet the beautiful people and I will meet some people who are stuck in time. We are already doing that. And it is in the micro moments that the inner GPS levels up. For example, typically when my coffee is not piping hot, I get very, very upset. Well, you have a choice of telling yourself that you won't let this be on your shoulder. You
mm,
can choose to let irritations dial down. You can choose to dial up your perception of joy. For instance, having a cup of coffee with your mate, with your pet in the car, watching the sunrise or the sunset. Salut, yes, that. And when I get the micro moments, I have 5 things to offer your guests. The first is to understand that you appreciate life and life appreciates you. Two, and research has proven that when we appreciate life, life shows us more reasons to appreciate life.
oh,
It's a
yeah.
micro choice. Whether I'm appreciating my kid, I'm appreciating a stranger on the subway, whether I'm appreciating the act of kindness, that sometimes is the only bright thing that happens in the world. Second is possibilities. When things are no longer what I remember it to be, I have the possibility of making it anything I can make it to be. Now, do I choose vengeance, rage, anger, or do I choose grace, compassion, humility? These are my range of choices, going back to the response. Third, can I believe that I have the strength? Because my personal strength is my eternal grace and blessing that I have. Do I have a great relationship with the Spirit? We may follow the frame of faith. We may be scientists and atheists. We might even follow that I am following the course of chaos and nature. No matter what you follow, scientific or following a frame of faith or intuitive knowledge, you are connected to the Spirit. Have you looked at how the Spirit has helped you? How you are holding hands with the Spirit as you co-create your reality? And the fifth one could be just looking at, with a telescope and a microscope, how am I relating to others? Am I relating in the way that expands others, or am I relating in a way that shrinks others? If I'm making others shrink around me, chances are I am deeply fossilizing because of the shock of the pain. If people tell me, Dr. Esther, every time I talk to you, I feel anything on this planet is possible. I may have to work very hard. I may have to change the way I do things, but it is possible. When we move into that, we know that we're doing the right thing. And by all means, it is not easy. Ease is again a nostalgia. The whole world, technology, sells on one point, making life easy. The question is, look around. Mother Nature has a very clear message.
Yeah.
Life is meant to be respected for how tough a race it is.
Ah, I love that. Life is meant to be respected according to what? How tough?
How tough the race is meant to be.
tough the race is meant to be. We're going to stop right there and we will be right back in just a moment. Welcome back. Welcome back. So glad that you are here. We are going to continue our powerful conversation with Dr. A. And so, Dr. A, this has been, I keep using the word powerful. Let me use another word. It has been a very much an enlightening conversation, a conversation that really causes one to really think deeply. A conversation that when you really listen and you're pondering everything that you're saying, you can really take it to the cellular level to where then whatever changes, whatever transformation that needs to take place can literally begin to take place. Many times we look for transformation and we're looking on the outside when transformation really begins on the inside. And for me, it really begins in your mind and in your heart, because I believe that the two are very much connected. And so, as we continue our conversation, many leaders and entrepreneurs, right, are navigating disruption. What advice would you give them about embracing the unknown and turning it into an opportunity for transformation? And when I say for transformation, I'm speaking about, I like to call it life by design, whole life transformation, not just in the business, in your business, but in every area of your life. When transformation begins to take place and they're interconnected, as you say, then everything begins to change in your life. How can we do that?
When the question of how comes, most of the time we imagine that the answer is out there, exactly at what you said, exactly. Because our eyes look outward, the eyes don't look at their own eyes and do not consider that perhaps our tacit knowledge, our unknown known knowledge at the back of the mind, the hippocampus, can actually come forward and show us these intuitive, brilliant points that allow us to say, I know it's counterintuitive, but I think that's going to work. I know that's not the rule, but I think that might work. Now, whether we are looking at our work missions or our family missions, which is love, nurture, bring beautiful families up, whether we are looking at a community around the world, to transform, which is to elevate the form, not destroy the form, one has to consider what life force are we adding in this moment of crisis. So when we are scaling our ability to be more so that we can do more and know more to accomplish whatever we need to do, and to give ourselves that right, we have to do what is called learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Learn,
Unlearn,
unlearn, and
relearn.
relearn.
And that is why I say humility, because many philosophers, and I've said it in many ways, American, international, that the illiterate of the 21st century, and I think it's Alvin Toffler who I attribute to, the illiterate of the 21st century won't be the ones who cannot read and write, but those of us who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So when you're listening to Dr. Esther Graham ask that question, I invite you to consider this. What in your life is now outdated? What perceptions about you are no longer true? They're not true because you have outgrown them, like the skin. You have outgrown it. You will not think like a teenager when you are completely a full-grown adult. So the question is, when we look at the world and we say, oh, I have so much knowledge, that is true, but not all knowledge is beneficial knowledge, right? So what kind of knowledge am I imbibing? What kind of knowledge am I living? Because knowing and doing are two very different things. We may know a lot because we are the world where everything is known, if you will, but are we acting? And this is where intention happens. Intent, act, impact. So am I acting with the intent of, say, elevating the relationship, elevating the trust, elevating the camaraderie, elevating the compassion? Whether I'm doing it at work, whether I'm doing it in my family, whether in my community. For all of this, it requires me to say what is coming in the way in the form of nostalgia of the past. What do I have to unlearn? And I have to do it with grace. And I have to do it with humility. And I have to do it with a positive action. Because if my action is brutalizing, if my action is harsh and abrasive, if my action appears to be thoughtless, then the collective will fail. And so it's quite like saying, we had a fantastic surgery, the patient is dead.
Yeah. That's an excellent example. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So over-complicating things is never a good idea. The idea is to really simplify. In times of complexity, there is always two things one has to ask. What has to be done and how it must be done.
Mhm.
Most of the time, we fixate on one or the other, which is the easier one. What might be easier for some, how is easier for some. And we go into great depths of analysis and we paralyze ourselves because all that knowledge basically says, I don't know what to do. The question you asked, Dr. Graham. So then the question is, who else can inform us beyond the hierarchy of order we may have placed in our head? So say you are my mentor. I will say, I'm going to come to Dr. Graham. But what if my mentor is helping someone else? Does that mean I will not take a decision? So inertia is a danger we must watch out for. When I am kicking the can down the road, saying, I'll let time decide for me, exactly what you were saying. I will be, until I'm forced into that moment, I will not take a decision. So decision making is the number one thing. What is the quality of my decision making? Is it making my life better? Self. Is it improving my relationships? Would my beloved, whoever your beloved is, whether it's a friend, a mate, a sibling, a member within the community, would my beloved, this person, say that I'm a better person as a result of the crisis, that the relationship has become better as a result of the crisis, that my treatment of the entire crisis has created compassion in the system, that the group has become more honest as a result of the way I responded, with the intentionality, because intention is invisible data we cannot see. We judge ourselves on our intentions, we judge others on their actions, right? So I am born nice, everyone else have to prove they're nice.
Yeah.
That's how trust goes. And if I am someone who has a high history of trauma, God, they need to prove it to me all the time. I'm the skeptic, I'm the cynic, right? Impossible to please me. So when we are looking at the intention, action, and impact, I think the very important question to ask is not decision alone, but the consequence. As a result of this decision, am I better and can I respect myself more in my eyes? In the eyes of my mate, my direct reports, my peers, my supervisors, have I created a better standard of operating? At the level of group, is the group more cohesive, more free, more honest? Is there greater example? Psychological safety in my family. Family is the first group. Fourth, system. Do we have better systems of governance? Have we created systems that regulate everyone's highest good? That is how
That
intentionally
regulate everyone's highest
good.
good. Yeah. Yeah. So good. So I've had to write intention, action,
Impact.
impact. Let's talk about that just a little bit more. Can we just go just a little bit deeper? Intention, action, impact.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with intention. How can we let's just look at our intentions. Are my intentions good? I guess the first question would be, what are my intentions?
I would, just the way you are pushing our conversation deeper, I would make an invitation to go to the deepest level of one's honesty, because we can be honest here inside the chambers of our heart. And ensure first that the heart is a safe place for you, because if it's a bit broken, then the heart could carry some shards of glass. So the first idea is to respect who you are and how life has created us. In that space, in the heart or the chambers of our mind, the first question to ask is, my worthiness. I am worth the respect. I am worth the goodness, and good things will happen to me. When that is the core, which is the fundamental truth, on that is built my capacity to build intentions. Now, if my belief is that, I'm not worthy, good things will not happen to me, the world is out to get me, then no matter how I intend things, the data would be skewed because the instrument is flawed in its fundamentals. So the fundamental thing is to recalibrate that no matter, and this goes back to what you said, Esther, incidents happen in life. They're not good, they're not bad, but they did happen. Nobody denies it. And they did have an impact. Now, I can label it saying, oh, I got scarred by it. Or I can say, it shed my skin because now I am 10,000 times better. Right? And the better is not just my ego deluding me, but people around me have told me that, because of you, the way you treat yourself, the way you treat your relationships, the way you treat your reality, I find that you give yourself the permission to love, to be graceful, to be gracious, to be humble. That is data. That is undeniable. So when we say intention, I invite everyone listening to consider first, if anybody ever, for whatever reason, had replaced this cornerstone in your heart that you're a good person, that good things will happen to you, the world is a good place, with a lot of tough reality to comprehend. But inherently, there's a lot of good to be done on the planet. Then the intention will be formed correctly.
So good. And action. So I have a saying, well, it's not my saying, it's Joan Baez, that says, action is the antidote for despair. And I truly believe that action is the antidote for despair. Get in action. But here's what type of action will you do?
Well, I would say get a microscope and a telescope and look at your life, because the idea is you are the architect of your life's consequences. We're the sum total of consequences of decisions we have taken, the decisions that we didn't take, somebody else took for us, or the world took for us. But at the end, when we hold the portrait of our lives in the innermost chambers of our mind and heart, we end up noticing that the cause and effect must be reconciled. Action is an antidote to despair. But the question is the action, as you said, what type? I would offer your viewers and your listeners to consider action to what end? Is it action to keep me busy so that I tell myself, I'm doing, because all of us are doers in some parts of the world. The stillness is scary to us. I would invite that as we set our internal GPS correct, recalibrate it, delete the bugs and the viral and the Trojans that anybody else may have planted. Delete that. Feel free to delete the nostalgia of, I was told I was this. Delete.
Yeah.
Use that button well and generously. And once we know that the intention is for the highest good, for the collective, then ask, what action will create maximum impact? Because if I'm only acting, for me and my friend, Dr. Graham, that's it. That's how far the circle of goodness would go. Then it's a bubble that a child is blowing, will not withstand. But if I say, with the good that I'm doing, example, the virtue of generosity, the virtue of psychological safety, the strategy of ensuring that the collective voice is respected. These are rippling contagion that works in a society. During the pandemic, to the example, we saw humanity get crushed and we saw humanity rise. We saw both. And those were people who were choosing consequences quite in face of death. That was not happening there. It was happening right here in my home to the person in the next room.
That's right.
So when the end of life is this close and I cannot distract myself, the real question is, given we have, somebody said it beautifully, I think it was Jody Wellman, that we have 4,000 Mondays to live. And I may have a couple of more snatches of Mondays. 5 minutes, it's God's will, or 5 decades, it's God's will. What am I doing with what my actions are becoming? Because of how I acted today, is somehow the world a better place? And the world could be my family. The world could be my inner world. The world could be my community, my work. The world could be, as leaders of nations, the whole world. And that's a war cry. It's not just my world. So when we look at action, I would truly ask people to focus not on just the rapid decision making, because AI can make a lot of action. And it's an automaton. No, what differentiates us is the quality of consequence. Are we creating quality of consequence? Are we creating better consequences for those we love, including and beginning with ourselves? Is this a better consequence?
I love that, the quality of consequences, not just consequences, but the quality of it. And what are you creating? And that's where action should lead to. And then, of course, there is impact. Impact. What's the impact? What level of what type of impact are you making?
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. There is also something else, and we were talking offline about this. Some things will remain hidden from us. That is simply, how shall I say, the wheel of time. You sow a seed throughout life. They will grow and sprout in different ways, and one may never come to know about it. So, when we look at the impact of our intention to action, one of the things that one can be gracious with is paradoxes. When things turn out to be opposite. I intended and I acted to create a more honest home, a more honest workplace, a more resilient business. And I ended up creating the opposite. In the face of crisis, it just broke.
Yeah.
It's a good place to pause and say, am I creating the opposite of my intention? Right? My intention is to build trust in my business, in my relationship, in the way the world listens to good knowledge. But how I'm doing things, which is why I loved your pause on let's go deeper on intent, action, and impact. What is the seen and the unforeseen consequences, which is why quality of consequences matter, on the impact? And what if the impact is opposite? No one on this world, and I imagine, unless someone who's kind of hell-bent on it, no one in this world wakes up and says, today I am going to wed misery. I will ensure everyone is miserable. Every person I meet, I will do that. And I will make sure I am most miserable to myself.
Yeah.
This state of dis-ease, which freezes us, sometimes is a coping mechanism because we believe we are safer if we believe that there is doom and gloom. Then no one else can disappoint us. Then the impact that will come from all our intentions and actions will be the opposite. So sometimes we have to, exactly in the way you were saying, Dr. Graham, we have to take a pause and calibrate why I'm doing it, what I'm doing, how I'm doing, to what end, and what's the quality of consequences, because that decides the impact. I have to own the impact of bad knowledge, bad use of good knowledge, and irresponsible use of all the technology that we have in the world. Example. Right?
Yeah. Power is so good. We have to be responsible, right? And many times we look out for others to be, and we never take on, but we have to be responsible. This has been a enlightening, deep level conversation. I want to say it's been a cellular level called conversation. And how can any of my viewers, how can they connect with you? They said, I've just got to hear her speak some more. I just need to be in her presence. How can they connect with you?
Thank you for that. I think a great way would be LinkedIn for now. I'm on LinkedIn. You can look at my Amrita Subramanian, and I'm happy to share that link so that it can be posted so it's easy to find. Also, Grow Beyond Pain is another place where I am putting all data in, because I would not like you to find this data in a short or a meme, which kind of takes away the entire essence of it. I would like you to go straight to the source of good knowledge. You mentioned responsible, Esther, and I loved how you said it. Responsible, the word, if we truly see it, is our ability to respond. We are living in the age of crisis, and crisis is the constant. Change is inevitable.
Inevitable.
We will suffer, but we won't all grow. So to ensure that we grow, we have to upgrade our hearts and our minds so that we can respond responsibly whether it is to our beloved family, to a community, to the place we work, our mission, our purpose. And so Grow Beyond Pain is a place where I have put all my research, where I am putting all the ideas that I am playing with. And what I'm also considering is the collective participation. It's not me. This knowledge does not belong to me. And I don't have enough life left to do all the work that needs to be done. So the call is also, and I add to Dr. Graham's call, my call is also, take this and test it. Play with it. Apply it.
Yes.
Because unless you experiment, you will not know what beautiful, delicious dish of life you can create for yourself. And you can trace it all back to Dr. Esther Graham's conversation.
Listen, and it's all going to be so juicy, right? I like to say it's just delicious and juicy, that can really help you take your life. For me, this is a life by design. You know,
Yes.
this is a life by design. Thank you so much for just being here, taking time out of your busy schedule today.
This has been a
And
real honor and joy.
oh, thank you. So it's been an honor and joy for me. Such a powerful, juicy, you know, conversation that can really, if you sit and you take it all in, could really transform your life. It might be in microdose, but you have to start somewhere. You
Yes.
have to start somewhere. And so again, thank you so much. Please look her up on LinkedIn. Amrita let me do it.
Brahmanian.
Subramanian. Did I get it?
Perfect.
Oh, yay. I got to pat myself on the back. Thank you again so much. Listen, everyone, thank you for joining us. And I cannot wait to connect with you again, to see you again. God bless. Take care. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to look on LinkedIn. Look up Amrita. Look up myself. Go on Facebook. Look us up. And I cannot wait to see you again. God bless and take care again. Bye.
You have been listening to Living a Life by Design, the journey back to you, and living 365 days of purpose with host Esther Graham. Listen or watch live every second and fourth Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com. Discover that what is possible is already in you. God designed a phenomenal life for you. Esther helps you ignite that energy behind your personal journey for a deeper joy and peace, living 365 days of purpose. For more information on living a life by design, visit fddwomen.com.